All right, this weekend we have UFC 318, Max Holloway going up against Dustin Poirier in what will be Dustin Poirier's final fight.
I was his first fight in the UFC. Now he's going to be my last fight in the UFC. So it's crazy.
Of course, he has had a legendary career. He fights nothing but the best fighters, always shows up. He's had some tremendous performances. Of course, he had those 2 wins over Conor McGregor, where he became a household name in mixed martial arts. To be fair, he's always in great fights. We love Dustin Poirier. Everything about him, from the way that he fights to the way that he carries himself in the octagon. I mean, look at what happened with Conor McGregor. When McGregor was knocked out at International Fight Week and he was talking a bit of shit and he was sitting on the canvas and like screaming about, you know, clack, clack, shooting him in the head and all kinds of shit. Did Dustin Poirier respond? Did he lose his cool? Did he lower himself to anything like that? No, he didn't. He was cool, calm, and collected. However, if you're going down through the streets and you're holding a sign that says, "Your wife's in my DMs," you might get a little bit of a slap. Confident. And fair play, right? Now, as we know, Dustin Poirier is 36 years old. He's had 39 professional MMA fights. He's won 30, he's lost 9. He's had 15 knockouts, and he's submitted 8 people. But it's the level of opposition that he has faced consistently that makes him a legend, okay?
This is shit that makes you a fucking legend.
Islam Makhachev, Benoit Saint-Denis, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis, Eddie Alvarez, Jim Miller, and then Michael Johnson, who, by the way, will be opening the pay-per-view this weekend. Fair play to Michael Johnson. This man is still going. Last time we saw him against Ottoman Azaitar and he knocked the guy out in vicious fashion. Anyway, back to Dustin Poirier. That list of opponents there is just unbelievable. And it's not just the level of opponent that he fights, it's the performances that he has. I mean, look at the fight that he had against Benoit Saint-Denis. He was almost finished. He got dropped. He got hurt. But of course, he got the knockout in devastating fashion. He was able to push Islam Makhachev to the 5th round. And remember, Renato Moicano, when he stepped up on short notice, was taken out of there in the very first round. Dustin Poirier is in every single fight. But he is getting older. Not that much older, though, than Max Holloway. Max Holloway is only 3 years younger, but 3 years is a long time when you're fighting at this kind of level. However, they've both had the same amount of fights in the UFC. They've both had 22... Oh, hey, how are you? My son's girlfriend. They've both had 22 fights inside the octagon, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a lot of wear and tear. That's a lot of mental stress. That's a lot of training camps. And it's the training camps where the majority of the injuries and the stress and the training and the trauma and the dieting and the...
5 minutes later.
The sacrifice, that's where most of the sacrifice comes in. The fights are the easy part. The fights are the part where you get to walk out there, you get to be the man, you get your hands in the air, everyone's screaming for you, you get to beat a guy up, you get paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and then you get to go home and be the man.
What do you want next, my friend?
I've been gone for 2 weeks, so I want my wife next. It's gonna be a lot of ground and pounding. Ground and pounding. She know what it is.
That's the easy part. The hard part is the training camp. There's no one cheering for you on a Wednesday morning when it's freezing cold outside and your body's aching and you're falling apart and you're injured and you're tired and you've stubbed your toe and you've got a black eye and you just can hardly walk.
My foot was a balloon.
And then you got to go into the gym and there's 3 guys waiting for you that are going to spar you and they haven't been training like you and you've got to go in there and spar them and go toe to toe with 3 different guys.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
There's no one cheering for you then. There's no one going, yeah, let's go. And there's certainly no payday. The training camps are the hard parts. Anyway, all right, boxing fans, this weekend, July 19th, we have Daniel Dubois going up against Alexander Usyk, and we could see the first undisputed heavyweight champion from the UK since Lennox Lewis in the 90s. And if you want to check it out, all the action that goes down at the packed out Wembley Stadium for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, this will be the biggest boxing fight of the year. It all goes down live on DAZN, Saturday, July 19th, live and exclusive on DAZN, and you can buy the pay-per-view and tune in and watch by clicking the link in my bio, or just go to DAZN.com Bisping. As I said, huge fight, two massive men with ridiculous power and unbelievable technique. Live and exclusive on DAZN, July 19th, DAZN.com/Bisping, or click that link down there. Anyway, when you look at this fight with Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway, of course, they fought twice. Dustin Poirier won both of those fights, submitted Max in his UFC debut at UFC 143 way back in 2012. Now, they would fight again many years later at UFC 236 2019. This time it was for the interim championship, and it went 5 rounds. Went to the final bell, but Dustin Poirier clearly won. Again, the older guy, more experienced, just a little bit stronger, a little bit bigger. But all those advantages that he had are now turning into disadvantages. There's more miles on the clock. He is a little bit older. The wear and tear starts to add up. And of course, so do the losses. Of course, Islam submitted Dustin last time out. Justin Gaethje knocked him out with a head kick. Charles Oliveira choked him out in the 3rd round. Khabib Nurmagomedov choked him out in the 3rd round as well. Now, there's certainly no shame, but what I'm saying is that those become little chinks in the armor. You start to realize that you're not invincible anymore and that maybe you're not going to become the champion. I'll never forget, after Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Dustin Poirier, I was commentating an event. Dustin Poirier was on the bus, and as I was walking off, he said to me, "Michael, you're a huge inspiration to me. The fact that you were able to become the champion at 37 years old has really inspired me, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to give it everything I can to become the champion." Of course, his last fight was for the Undisputed belt, and this one will be for the BMF belt, and he's been the interim champion as well. But I think for someone like Dustin Poirier, who now, if we're honest, he knows he's not going to become the champion. He's made a fortune. He gets paid a lot of money. Those 2 fights with Conor McGregor would have been extremely lucrative. He's one of the biggest stars in the UFC. He makes a lot of money outside of the octagon as well. The hot sauce, I'm sure, is killing it. He has the Good Fight Foundation as well, and he does a lot of great work there. And when he retires at only 36 years old, there's going to be a lot of things that Dustin Poirier can do. So, is the motivation still there? Of course, it's in New Orleans, his hometown. The UFC are going there specifically for Dustin Poirier, and that's incredible.
This is for him. He wanted to have his last fight and end his career in New Orleans, so here we are.
And that could be the fairy tale farewell to an unbelievable career for one of everyone's favorite fighters, okay? But it brings a lot of pressure. It brings a lot of anxiety. You got friends and family, they're all in town. They all want to see you perform. You're like the local hero. It brings a lot of pressure. I'm telling you right now, I have been there many times. Every time I fought in England, it was a little bit more stressful. But I was also undefeated in England as well, because you want to do the people justice. You want to make them proud, and it pushes you in the training camp. But as I say, Max Holloway now is the younger guy, but he's not so young that you can bully him around. I mean, look at what he did to Justin Gaethje. That knocked out Dustin Poirier, stood there with him, went toe-to-toe, went 5 rounds, and then knocked him out in the final few seconds of the last round. Max Holloway is coming into this one very motivated as well, because Max Holloway doesn't want to lose 2 trilogies. Of course, he lost 3 in a row to Alexander Volkanovski. He doesn't want to lose 3 in a row to Dustin Poirier.
The main history I ain't trying to make is trying to be a man who fought 2 different trilogies and went 0-3.
Not because that would be embarrassing, because it's just who he is. He's a man, he's a fighter. He wants to be a winner, and he wants to try and reinvent himself and go on and become a champion at 155 pounds. You got to think here for Max Holloway, if he can beat Dustin Poirier, he inserts himself into the conversation.
Get a moment, get everybody excited about it. Who's to say that not fighting for a title come at the end of the year or early next year,
Of course, Ilia Topuria, he's the champ. He's probably going to fight Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, Arman Tsarukyan. One of those, we don't know. But whoever it is, if Max Holloway gets a big win here and then gets another one in the meantime, he is putting himself into that conversations. Anyway, when you look at them both, they're both great strikers, okay? I don't think we're going to see any wrestling out of this. Both men are going to stand there. They're going to go toe-to-toe. They're going to throw down. It's going to be absolutely sensational. I think if somebody gets knocked down, they will follow them down to the ground, and we might see some grappling transitions in that regard. However, I don't think either man's going to be shooting takedowns. They're going to stand there. Max Holloway is going to point at the ground. They're going to throw down, and it's going to be tremendous. And it will be the final time we get to see Dustin Poirier compete inside the octagon.
Last 11 people that he's fought. 7 of them were former world champions. He's had an incredible career here. I mean, we literally did this show for him.
But I don't know if he's going to be the winner. Listen, never doubt Dustin Poirier, but never doubt Max Holloway. Yes, Max Holloway was just knocked out against Ilia Topuria, so that could present some problems for him. That could have weakened the chin. Sometimes people get cracked, they get knocked out, and they're never the same again. Or it could have lit a fire under his ass and he's like, you know what, I'm going to show the people. I'm coming to Louisiana to whoop some ass. And I honestly, at this point, I don't know which way it's going to go down. You let me know who you think wins this fight in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell. See you soon.